Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Temple Akiba of Culver City. We are so glad that you are with us this evening to celebrate Shabbat, to nourish your souls, and to be here, many of you supporting Ethan, who's becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow.
Woo.
My name is Rabbi Zach Shapiro, and I welcome you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I welcome you so much that it echoes like that. I welcome you. I'm actually going to be taking a back seat during much of tonight's service because Hannah, our incredible intern from HUC JIR, has curated and put together most of what our Shabbat evening experience will be. And for those of you who have been here when Hannah's led services, you know, like me, that we sit waiting for the pearls of both wisdom and enlightenment to just descend on us, because that's the kind of rabbi she already is. And so Hannah will be leading the majority of tonight's service. I will be playing a little bit of guitar in the background. Cantor Lonnie cannot be here tonight. She developed a fever and she sends her love to everyone. Otherwise, she would have been leading us in most of our music. So we invite everyone to take a deep breath. And we'd also like to remind everyone to make sure that your phones are on the silent mode and to keep them away. We ask that you not take any photos during the service and to just allow the spirit of Shabbat to take over.
What an absolutely extraordinary opportunity we have to be together, to take that deep breath, to carve out time to both rest and celebrate together. So we'll begin tonight on page 339, that's page 339, with a song called Hava Nashira, meaning come, let us sing. We turn all the way back in our Sidurim to page 2, where we find the words for our Shabbat candle lighting blessing. And this evening, it is my honor and pleasure to invite Ethan, along with his parents, Jennifer and Nate, and his grandparents, Carol and Howard, for our candle lighting blessing on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai We turn to page 5 for Kiddush, and I invite the congregation to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lemaseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila lamigrae kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kedashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'avan ratzon hinhiltanu Baruch atah Adonai Medesh HaShabbat L'chaim.
It is my pleasure to invite up Herman Barnathan on behalf of the men's group and Karen Marcus on behalf of the sisterhood to present Ethan with a few gifts.
Ethan, Mazel Tov to you. It's my pleasure to represent the Sisterhood of Temple Akiba in presenting you your very own Kiddush cup and candlesticks. And I know you've worked very hard to get to this point, and your parents, your family are very proud of you, as well as your teachers, the rabbi and the cantor. And it's quite a milestone. We hope that you use these candlesticks and the Kiddush cup at your Shabbat and holiday celebrations. Hope you use them with pride and with joy for all you've accomplished. And good luck tomorrow, and Mazel Tov to you and your family.
You know, you did the candles so well, then put me to shame. Ethan, I'm Herman Barnathan. On behalf of the men's group, it's my honor to present you with this Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. It starts at Bereshit. You got Psalms, you got the whole Torah, you got Psalms, you got Judges. Anything you need to know up to and including Chronicles is in this book. It's in English, so there's no excuse for you not to read it. And years down the line, when Hebrew becomes, well, let's say, I once knew what that word meant. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about because I'm a lot older than you. Anyway, the book is in English for you. Treasure it. Read it. Learn from it. And anything you don't know, ask the rabbi or the cantor. They'll be happy to help you. You'll do great tomorrow. Mazel tov to you. And mazel tov to your parents.
We continue our service now on page 13 with Shiru Ladonai. We turn now to page 20, where we find the words of Lecha Dodi, a beautiful song where at the end we rise and turn towards the entrance to welcome in the Sabbath bride. We will be singing together a few verses as we go, and follow along on those two pages, 20 and 21. and face the entrance. Oi v'shalom atet lana, nam b'simcha v'tzola, tonei am segula, boi hala, lecha lecha dori. You may be seated, and Ethan, I'm going to invite you back on up. We continue our service on page 26 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadash v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra hirutei Be'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'chayetecho Beit Yisrael Bagala u'bizman kariv V'yimeru amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'alam u'almei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitramban v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Kedusha Prevu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran be'alma V'imeru amen. Having settled into our space and warmed up our voices and welcomed Shabbat as well, we are ready ourselves now for the Baruch Hu, our call into prayer and into community. May we renew our words of prayer tonight, restore their luster, bring them to life. Let song and silence and sound awaken our souls. Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. On page 30, we find the words of Ma'ariv Aravim. And one of my very favorite versions of Ma'ariv Aravim takes just a snippet right in the middle of the prayer, beginning with Borei Yom V'Laila. And I love this prayer because on the next line where it says Golel, we get this image of rolling, of light rolling into dark, the continuous cycles and seasons of all of God's creations. So this evening we'll sing a version of this prayer called Roll into Dark, and there are some hand motions. They're pretty repetitive. So as we sing and as we go, I invite you to join me both in singing and performing the hand motions.
turn now to page 34, and I invite you to rise for the Shema, our declaration of God's oneness and unity. You may be seated. Ethan. We will continue on page 36. Ethan will be leading us in the words of Ve'ahavta.
Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinatam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, uvshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. Uktaftam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
God spoke to Adam, and Adam spoke to Eve, and forever there would be voices in the world. Voices draw us in, debate and dissent, conversation and consensus. Raise your voice, a voice to raise children, a voice to raise knowing, and a voice to raise spirits. Shout out against the hypocrisy, shout out against the hate. Raise your voice in song in praise of God, and hear always the quiet voice, that still, small voice of the heart. Which voice will be mine today? Which voice tomorrow? We continue on page 40 with Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom.
Beautiful.
Dorate hilo do sekele, dorate hilo do sekele. Malachutecha ra'u banecha, lokei ayamite Moshe. Ze'eli anu ve'amru, ze'eli anu ve'amperu. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai. Yai lai lai ya lai la lai la lai. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai. Yai lai 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 ya lai 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 lai.
In just a moment, we will turn our intention to the words of the Amidah, our central prayer. We begin the Amidah with the words, Adonai Sefatai Tiftach, asking for just a little bit of help in opening our lips to form the words and speak aloud. I find this request incredibly humbling, for it acknowledges that sometimes, regardless of whether for words of praise, prayer, protest, or comfort, opening our lips and letting the words stream out can be a little bit difficult. May the words of our tradition serve as a starting point this evening. I invite Ethan forward to lead us and ask the congregation to rise in body or spirit for the Amidah, beginning on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol. V'zocher chastei avot ve'imachot, u'mevii gula livnei b'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham ve'ezras Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah, Rav le'Hoshia. Mechalkel hayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Vishenei afar, Vihamocha ba'gevurot, Umidom melech, Melech memhit, Umechayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lecha hayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom, yehalelu hasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. So Ethan, I didn't tell you this before, but this is also the anniversary of my bat mitzvah, so we have that in common. I am a planner and have always been a planner. So back in 2006, when I found out that my bat mitzvah portion would be Parshat Emor, my rabbi joked that it was perfect for me. He explained that it was perfect because, amongst other topics, these chapters of Leviticus detail all the highlights of the Jewish calendar. Having already dealt with holiness in areas such as worship, family life, the priesthood, and animal sacrifice, Parshat Emor now turns to holiness in time by outlining Shabbat, Passover, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and more. I can almost imagine God sitting around a conference table with Moses and the Israelites saying, "All right, team, I've got a few important dates that I'd like you to mark in your calendars." For each festival, our Torah outlines the various things we do to mark the occasion. But in addition, the rabbis notice the abundance of verbs in the text that have to do with speaking, for there are even more speaking verbs than usual. Words like emor, the title of this portion, meaning speak, and daber, meaning say, are repeated sometimes even 3 times in the same verse. A midrashic teaching comments on the importance of speech and proclaiming these celebratory festivals. In ancient times, before we had a set calendar, the Israelites knew the start of each holiday based on the shape of the moon. The community relied on witnesses to spot the moon, come to the temple, and call out the start of the festival. The Midrash imagines that for one reason or another, it was possible for a witness to erroneously proclaim a festival, or for a scheming witness to proclaim the festival at the wrong time. As an answer to this worry, it teaches, if you proclaim them, they are God's festivals. This calls attention to the essential importance of speech in marking sacred time, because the very act of proclaiming the festival makes it so. In addition to the things we do, there is something a little extra that's ignited through our speech when we draw attention and intention to a moment. I'd like to share 2 examples that bring fullness to this midrashic teaching. First, I remember sitting in the living room at my grandparents' house in Chicago. We each had colorful party hats, sparkly noisemakers, and our stomachs were very full from cheese and crackers. A row of glass flutes with sparkling grape juice sat upon the countertop, waiting for the clock to strike midnight so we could celebrate the start of 2002. I walked into the kitchen and found my father turning the hands of the clock. "What are you doing?" I asked him. He answered, "New Year's is going to come to us a few hours early this year." So when our clock struck 12, we cheered and blew our noisemakers and hugged, and joy filled my heart because I was surrounded by my family and we'd marked this special moment together. My parents' hearts were filled with joy because we'd marked this time together, and we were all soundly tucked into bed by 9 p.m. Now, I don't mean to equate my parents to scheming witnesses, but regardless of how true to the clock we were with our New Year's celebration, the midrashic teaching seems to side with my parents, for we did still mark our moment in time and proclaim it loudly. A second example, we can perhaps understand the holiday called Pesach Sheni, literally second Passover, in a similar way. Pesach Sheni falls 1 month after Passover and actually is today. During ancient times, this holiday was to be observed by those who were unable to participate in the first Passover and the sacrifice that came along with it due to impurity or because they were traveling far, far away from Jerusalem at the time. Today, in a post-temple world, Pesach Sheni doesn't really have a clear purpose, but it's regarded by some as a day symbolic of second chances, while for others, like Jewish journal author Matthew Schultz, it's a day ripe with possibility, a celebration of a living and dynamic Judaism. But either way, Pesach Sheni was proclaimed sacred simply because there was a need for it. Together, Parshat Emor and Pesach Sheni teach us two things. First, that there is beauty in proclaiming sacred time as a community. And second, that there is value in marking sacred time with our words, even if that moment needs to happen outside of our communal structures. At different points in life, perhaps we'll each need to mark, measure, and sanctify time in different ways. Perhaps for a student, the sanctity of time comes with each closing semester and the opportunity to reflect on the accomplishments of learning. Perhaps for a new parent, one finds holiness in the milestones and growth of a new child. And perhaps for many, time's passing is measured with the help of Shabbat and the smiling faces you know will be at synagogue waiting to welcome you. Parashat Emor invites us each to reflect upon and understand the ways in which we make meaning of passing time. So whether you mark through Shabbat or semesters, may you be blessed with the wisdom to pause and proclaim time sacred. Ken Yehi Ratzon, we take a few moments to reflect and pray individually. Yehu leratzon imre fi vehekyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri v'gohali v'gohali.
Let's all take another breath of fresh air, everyone. It's been so meaningful for me personally to be able to take a step back and pray as Hannah has been leading us and guiding us through this journey of goodness tonight. With all the strength that we feel in our souls, we want to pay it forward. And we therefore have a prayer for healing. If we open our Sidurim, our prayer books, to page 253, page 253, right in the center, is our prayer for healing. We're going to pray together for the first verse. When we get to the center, as my eyes meet yours, perhaps there are people you know who could use an extra embrace of shalom. It could be physical, it could be spiritual, it could be mental. It could be you who needs that extra prayer. And so we'll have an opportunity to share those names out loud. And don't be shy. Please know that as you release that name, it helps bring healing to our world. And then we'll continue with the prayer together. Again, it's on page 253.
Of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
1 million rabbi point question. What's the highest honor you can have in Judaism? What's the highest honor you can have as a Jew? Not an Aliyah. Ooh, not a rabbi, although I like that answer. Not a rabbi. What's the highest thing? I'm sorry. Oh, so the highest mitzvah is to accompany someone to burial, but that's not the highest honor. The highest honor or title. Whoa, do we have another hand over here? Oh, yes. Oh, not a bar mitzvah. Not a bar mitzvah. The highest title or honor someone can have is to be called a mensch. A mensch, which in Yiddish, it loosely translates into like an adult or a man, but what it really means is a good soul, a good-hearted person, someone who does the right things. And so at Temple Akiba, we have an award program called the Mensch of the Month program. So if Randy were here, she would be offering these awards, but in her absence, she has given me the authority to name the following people. So if you're here, go grab Jasper, right? If you're here, I'm going to ask you to come forward to receive your certificate as the Mensch of the Month, and then we'll sing a little song that one of our former song leaders penned a few years ago. So Jack Goldenberg, is Jack here? Come on up, Jack. For those who haven't seen this, by the way, it's not only a certificate, but it has a bumper sticker. My child was Mensch of the Month at Temple Akiba. So Elias Sewell, if you are here, is Elias here? I'm not sure if he's here. Okay. Nima, Kamali, come on up. Where are you, Nima? Do you want to do the next one?
Sure. Sophia Levy.
Sophia here? I don't think I saw her. Okay.
Jasper's here. Jasper Siegel.
Jasper, come on up. Oh, you're welcome, Jasper. Jack Sonnenschein. I don't think I saw Jack here tonight. Okay. Joseph, are you here?
Yeah.
Joseph, come on forward. You got it.
And Sam Gumbel.
Sam?
Yay,
come on up.
Sam.
Come on up, Sammy. Now, just so you know, a mensch doesn't have to be a man. I mean, I know that traditionally it says that. This just happened to fall this way of those who are here. And we've got a song. So how many do we have, Hannah?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. Look who it is. 5 awesome kids. They did good deed, said thanks and please. Opened the doors, gave to the poor. So here's what we all are here to say. There we go. Congratulations, you're the Mensch of the Month. We're all excited to say Mazel Tov. But grow hard to give us such cheer, so all of us will give you a cheer. You're a Mensch, you're a Mensch, you're a Mensch, you're a Mensch, you're a Mensch. Yasher Koach. Mazel Tov!
We have additional moments to mark this evening for those celebrating a life moment in the month of May. It could be a birthday, perhaps it's an anniversary or a bar mitzvah, a graduation, or just something else going on. So if you fall into any of those categories, we invite you to come on up to the bima. And although we will be opening the ark, I ask the congregation to remain seated. Come on up.
There's got to be more than 3 of you. Birthdays, anniversaries, life celebrations in the month of May. Come on forward. Don't be shy. I'm sorry, graduations. Mother's Day. Sure, why not?
All right. Welcome on up, everyone. So in the Book of Kings, ER, which is the month that we are currently in the Jewish calendar, is called the month of radiance because it is the point in time where the trees are blossoming and there's perhaps a little extra rain and everything is in full bloom. It shares a similar vibe with the whole after April showers come May flowers, except in the Jewish calendar. We are so glad that you all have chosen to mark these moments, whatever moments they may be, here this evening with all of us. And we hope that no matter what it is that you are celebrating, you can take this month of radiance and imbue it with the renewal and the flourishing that comes to each and every one of you. We thank God for giving light to us, for sustaining us, and for bringing us to this moment. And so we sing these words of blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Mazel tov! Mazel tov, everyone.
It is my pleasure to invite Verna forward on behalf of the board, Verna Erez, in order to share with us a few announcements.
Thank you, Hannah. I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and a welcome. And if any of you are here, and I'm sure a few of you are here for the first time, would you raise your hand? After the service, we're having an oneg, we're having refreshments in the social hall. And if you'd like to hear more about the temple, speak to any of us with a badge or anybody else, and we'd love to talk to you. Congratulations to Ethan, here he is, on becoming a bar mitzvah. You did beautifully today, and I'm sure you're going to do beautifully tomorrow at your actual bar mitzvah. And mazal tov to your family, who I'm sure are very, very proud of you, your parents. And also, just wanted to let you know that the oneg, the refreshments after the service, are sponsored by the family. And thank you for that. And a few items that are coming up. Tomorrow, we're celebrating our 70th birthday, the temple is. We're having a gala, and it's going to be on a hornblower cruise ship in the Marina del Rey. And if you haven't yet signed up, you're still welcome. We can still get you in. It starts, people are boarding at 5:45 to, you have a half hour to board, and then we'll cruise around in the harbor and then come back and be back by 10 p.m. It should be a great, fun evening. The Congregational's annual meeting will be on Wednesday, May 17th at 7 p.m. And before the meeting, we're having a community dinner at 6. So if you're interested in joining us for that, for the dinner, you'll have to make a reservation for that. And if you want to come and you want a place for your children, there will be childcare available. And on the 21st of May, we're having our 16th annual Mitzvah Day. And this is where we gather here at the temple, and we have some locations off-site where we do good deeds. And it's a wonderful morning, and then it ends with a lovely pizza lunch. At any rate, also at the mitzvah day, we're having a blood drive. So that's all I have to let you know of right now. And again, Mazal Tov to Ethan and to your family.
We will begin to conclude our service on page 282, and I invite the congregation to rise. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigei ha'aratzot, v'lo hosamanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kachem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated.
On page 288, when I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We remember at this time those of our community who have died, who will always shine upon us from their eternal resting spaces. We remember first those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, including Cheryl Skura, Gerald Barnes, and Lorette Robbins. Is there anyone else here who's observing Shloshim the first 30 days since a loved one has died? We add to their names the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat. And we begin with those who have plaques in our Orfrid Memorial Room. Sylvan Bennis, Gabriel Elfman, Sophie Greenberg, Leah Hoffman, Bess Canner, Bertha Cates, Frida Kaufman, Robert Margolin, Lena Miller, Charles Naar, Ada Pathman, John Schneider, Kurt Seligman, Simon Spicer, Clayton Wildstein. We also remember Stephen Abrams, Joseph Axel, Carol Barden, Jean Burgum, Ida Brown, Cynthia Alicia, my friend, teacher, and mentor, Rabbi Morley Feinstein, Abraham Fisher, Judy Friedman, Walter Horn, Bessie Jacobson, Saul Molnar, Friedel Needleman, Charles Victor Nyland Jr., Helene Padover, Jack Potesh, Ann Rothman, Irving Rubenstein, Zena Rudich, Arnold Shacknow, Bernard Sherman, Sylvia Spinner, Mindel Waldman Gross, James York, Ruth Zucker, Helen Zwick. Are there additional yard sites those who are here are observing? May their memories guide all of us with goodness. On page 294, we rise as a congregation for Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach rotei v'yamnich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei techol beit Yisrael, Bagalau v'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei t'kudusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to each other, we create peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say, Amen. Please be seated, everyone. Ethan, I want to add to what's been shared. You are extraordinary tonight. Your family goes back with our family a long way. Jennifer, you are a member of University Synagogue, growing up with Cantor Lani. And so that celebration goes back generations. Thank you for sharing light with all of us tonight. Hannah, thank you for sharing extraordinary presence in a way that touched all of our souls through the written word as well as your spoken word. You wove the two together, and none of us will leave this space the same. Because I think we all know that we get a second chance and a second wind. But capturing these moments can lead to extraordinary things. I want to give a special shout out and welcome to some students here from the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. I'd love to say that you came because you knew that Temple Akiba was a special place, but I know you also came because Hannah's a special person. And so thank you for embracing her as well as our community by your presence tonight. How are we closing?
We will be closing with the words of Oseh Shalom. And if there's anyone here who comes to Temple Akiba for religious school and happens to know the hand motions for Oseh Shalom, I invite you on up. I know we have several menshim here tonight, so come on up if you know. Are we coming? All right, I can do them by myself, that's fine.
Well, you can teach them by yourself, but I hope the congregation joins in. Yeah.
Please join in. They are very repetitive and lots of fun. You want to come on up?
makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Four, three, two, one. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Thank you. And before, oh yes. One quick announcement before we have our final words of blessing. Please remember to take your Sidurim, your prayer books with you as you exit the sanctuary. There will be wonderful helpers at the door to help you put them away on the shelves. But before we do actually leave, it is my pleasure to invite Ethan. You come on back up, as well as Jennifer and Nate. Please come join us.
Don't need it yet. You got a blessing. Up.
We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our prayers humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'tei
Avon. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Take a bite.
Ethan, you can all eat it. It's totally fine. You don't have to share with me. You were amazing.
Good job.
Mazel tov. How do you feel? That's fair. Sure. Thank you.